So first, let's start by presenting the contradiction. Now, why do I say that Christianity is the only reasonable worldview? It is because of this. Number one, it is the only one that can account for itself, the world in which we live, the laws of logic, the laws of nature, the laws of scientific experimentation, the value of proof, morality, and justice. And number two, all other worldviews are inherently and fundamentally inconsistent because they not only cannot account for these things, but their claims actually contradict the very existence of these things while they yet assume these very things. So let me repeat this again because it is very important that we capture this, okay? It's really simple, but I'm going to repeat it in different words, okay? Number one, non-Christian worldviews assume things that they disagree with in their claims. And number two, non-Christian worldviews can't help but to borrow from the Christian worldview the things that they assume and the things that they disagree with. In the practical sense, Christians do not have to be on the defensive, as though non-Christian views operate from objective truths, and all Christians are left with is faith. So let's spend a few minutes understanding the contradiction common in all non-Christian philosophies and worldviews. It is simple. All ideas have three components, and these three components must agree with each other in order for the statement to be considered reasonable and logical. First, the first component is the things that this statement assumes. Second, the things that it claims. And third, the things that it concludes. For an idea to be reasonable, what it claims and concludes must agree with what it assumes. So now let me give you a common example, okay? This is probably one of the most popular examples you'll find. I mean, you find this everywhere, okay? You see it all around. It comes in so many different shapes, sizes, tastes, whatever you want to call it. It's out there everywhere. Okay, ready? Can we read this on the screen up here? There is no truth. There is no truth. All truth is either relative, not binding, or just personal. I mean, how many times have you heard that? Raise your hand if you've never heard that before. Okay? But so now, let's ask ourselves, what does this idea claim? Well, it claims that there is no truth. But what does this claim assume? This claim assumes that the statement that there is no truth is true. So what's the conclusion then? Is there really no truth as the claim concludes, or is there really truth as the claim assumes? Well, which one is it? You see, going forward from the claim to the conclusion disagrees with going backward from the claim to the assumption. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't jive. It doesn't flow. It's a square hole in a round peg. You see? Now, the person that holds to this view has to be asked to give an account for this inherent contradiction and to resolve it in order to be taken seriously. And by the way, we Christians, we often rush into this way too fast. We are way too fast to come in and try to prove why statements like these are false, when really we should spend most of our time just asking for a clarification of how this could be right in the first place, and we should require that statements such as these be held to the light of their own standards before even engaging in the argument. So what can we say about this argument? It is inherently inconsistent. It is unreasonable. It cannot account for itself. It is self-contradicting. It's not even worth a fight. I mean, I don't need to come in here and explain why this is wrong when it can just be defeated on its own merit. But wait, let's press it some more, all right? If someone claims that there is no truth, then we would ask him, is that true? If they say, well, yeah, of course that's true. That's what I just said. Then we would say, so are you saying that there is something that's true? And they say, oh yes. Then we would respond, so which is it? Is there no truth, or is there one truth? Which one is it? If they say, well, there's only one truth, then we would say, is that true also? And if they say, well, yeah, then we would ask, wait, okay, I'm confused. Doesn't that make two things true? And if they say yes, then we would say, okay, whoa, I'm confused. This is getting a little out of hand, okay? Now, if the first truth you spoke, that there is no truth, is true, which contradicts the second truth you spoke, that there is one truth, have you not already spoken two truths, which in fact contradict your two truths? I mean, after all, when you really think about it, when you dig a little deeper, this one statement that there is no truth easily generates three truths off the back. First, the truth that there is no truth. Second, the truth that there is at least one truth. And third, the truth that there are two truths. Now I'm shocked, I am just absolutely shocked that this viewpoint has caused so much grief and confusion and distress in our day, and there are so many philosophies and ideas that are based around this simple statement, when really this statement should never have been given the light of day that it has been given. And the proponents of these views, when you attack them with these lines of reasoning, they oftentimes can't deflect these arguments, and so they'll say something like, "Oh, that's just silly, Christopher. That's ridiculous. I mean, how can you say that?" And so I would say, is that true also? Is it true that this is ridiculous, that this is silly? Because then you got 4 or 5 more truths. How many more do you have? I thought you said there were no truths. I mean, come on. It makes some sense here. So I hope you're seeing how this works. Now, in a more humorous example of the above, here's a picture reflecting the same example. Now, I found this at a school I recently visited a couple of weeks ago, and on a whiteboard here, there was a student had written this, and, well, here's the slide. He wrote, "There is no truth." Okay, you see it there. Now, half an hour later, I came back, and another student had written, "Except for this," right? I mean, you see, that's great. That's excellent. The first student probably thought he was quite a genius for writing a statement like there is no truth up there. But then the second student obviously caught his contradiction and asked a great question. Except for this, right? You see, it's brilliant. And so I hope you're seeing how this works. All right, let me give you another example, all right? Let me get my marker and my sheet of paper. And for those on the tape, I'm writing this on the back of a sheet of paper. I hope the people in the back can see this. All right. I just wrote this on the back of a sheet of paper. Do not read this. Do not read this. You see? Now that is a self-contradicting statement. Why? Because by the time you've read it, you've already done the exact thing it told you not to do. Once again, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't jive. And so I hope you're seeing how this works. Every idea assumes things. Every idea claims things. Every idea concludes things. And in order for a statement to be reasonable, these three concepts, these three things must agree with each other.